Welcome to White Rice, Brown Rice. Let's dig into the flavorful mix of interracial relationships. From cultural quirks to family dynamics, we're serving up fresh perspectives on love, laughter, and all things Asian Caucasian. So grab your chopsticks and forks because it's time to mix it up.
Hey, what's up?
What's
How
up?
are you?
You know, hanging in after
Yeah.
Chinese New Year celebrations.
Yeah, did you have fun?
We did. Yeah.
Good.
Lots of family stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. Food. Lots of food too.
Yeah,
I think I still have a pig's head in my fridge.
that's awesome. You just open the fridge and it's like, hello.
Hello.
Does it have like an apple in its mouth, like Hawaiian style, or no?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
They don't open up the pig's mouth.
Is his tongue hanging out? Like,
No, he's just real cute.
okay.
Just you could kiss his nose.
Oh, weird. So we started talking about priorities in a previous episode,
Yeah.
and there's so many. Obviously, we thought we'd keep the conversation going, right?
Yeah.
And as we were talking about getting ready for the show, obviously Asian priorities are very diverse between different nationalities, right? So
Yes.
we were kind of talking about your Cambodian priorities are different than Chinese priorities, obviously.
Yeah.
So some of this is gonna, I think, be very general, but some of it is going to be really specific to you
Yeah.
and Cambodian. And I can speak to the Chinese culture that I know of, but I can also speak to the white
Yes.
the white side of things. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about was work, because work is, I think, obviously a priority in all cultures.
It's a big priority. Yeah.
But how families function and how they prioritize work. So Asians, what do you think? Is it a high priority or low?
Very high priority.
Very high, right? I
Yeah.
think that's everyone could have guessed that.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Work comes first. Doesn't matter
yeah.
really what else you're doing. Work comes first.
So how did that show up in your family though?
We all worked. I worked since the time I was like 4 years old. We used to pick tomatoes as a family, like summer vacation, when all my friends are going off to Florida or their cabin or whatever it is.
Mm,
My mom said, "Okay, great. Now we all go to work." And we would pick tomatoes. We picked
Okay.
tomatoes as a family because you got paid by the barrel. Back in when I was doing it, it was like a wooden like case, and you had to fill the case, and I believe it was $8, and it had to meet a certain weight.
okay.
So everybody, the entire family, would go out, pick tomatoes, and my mom would set a goal, and we wouldn't be able to leave till we hit that goal.
Oh wow.
Like there's a certain amount of money we needed to make that day.
Mm.
And it would be from 7 a.m. till about 8 o'clock at night,
Wow,
like a full day, 12, 13 hours.
that's crazy.
Pick tomatoes. And if we weren't picking tomatoes in the summer, we were picking blueberries
Right.
or raspberries, apples. This is all for money. This isn't apple picking for fun.
So obviously, right, like the white kids
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
So is this like a farm, like local in your city or neighborhood or
Yes.
whatever? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when I was old enough, when I was 13 in the summers, I would corn detassel. My sister and I corn detasseled.
What the hell is corn to tassel? Like shucking it?
No. So you go to the field and you have to take out the tassels so that the male and the female can,
I don't even know what a tassel is. I've never grown corn.
yeah, it's
Got it.
so they're planted so that the male and female are next to each other so that they
Okay.
can inseminate the female.
So you had corn sex when you were 13.
You had
Whoa.
to take out the tassel, but it wasn't like sit there and be real nice. I want to say a mile long, but it's not. I'm exaggerating. The field is like a mile long, and you have to go through and you have to pull it like this, and they expect a certain speed, and you have to take out the tassel. The tassel cuts your hand, your arms, or you have to wear long sleeves. And we go at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the fields are wet, so you get more like corn burn. I used to have nightmares of corn detasseling because you go for at
Yeah.
least 12 hours.
Whoa.
But I went from a worker, I did corn detasseling every summer till I was 16, 17, and I became a supervisor. I like the supervisor role because I got to walk behind the other workers to check their work to make sure they
Oh.
didn't miss any. Because if they missed too many, We have to do the whole fucking row again
Oh,
because the farmers will come out and check at the field. And if the field has too many tassels that are still in there, we have to go do it again.
well,
It was hell on earth,
it
but
sounds
it was
like
the
it.
best job because we got paid like $13 an hour
Mm,
back then. And that was huge.
that was a lot.
It was high paying because it was the
Yeah.
shittiest job in the world.
Oh.
And it was all kids. We'd meet at the foreman's house and he had a bus, 70 kids pile on the bus, and we go hit the fields.
Was there like child labor laws in Canada back then or no?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh,
Because
because I got my first job at 14, but I had to get permission from my school in order to do that. And I
oh
couldn't
no,
work past a certain
I
time.
was just working private for farmers.
Yeah. So it's like a babysitting gig,
They
like
paid the
under the table.
guy and he
Okay.
paid us cash,
Yeah.
everybody who worked.
Well,
It
how
was
many corn babies happened because of you?
everybody who ate corn between the years of 2000. I made those babies.
I love Labor Day corn. So thank you.
You're welcome. It takes a lot of work to make
Yeah.
corn.
So, okay. So you
We worked.
worked.
Summer,
Right.
there was no such thing as summer vacation. I think I loved school so much because I
You
didn't have to work.
Mm,
And
yeah.
then when summer hit, it was like, I have to go corn to tassel.
Yeah.
But
So, but you did it as a way to make money survive. When I got my job at 14, it was because I wanted to make my own money. Nobody made me get a job. I was just kind of industrious and wanted to make my own money. But I think nowadays it's kind of, like, oh, I want my kid to learn some responsibility,
right,
but I'm
it's
still
not financial.
fronting all their
Yep.
cash for all their things, right? Or maybe teaching them responsibility, they have to give me a certain percentage of, if they want to go on a trip, they have to pay for half to try to
Right.
teach them responsibility. It isn't like to survive,
Yes.
to make money.
Yeah, we work
So,
to survive.
yeah. But even then, with King's family, they absolutely worked to survive early on, but then they became somewhat successful and still work is such a high priority.
Right.
Like work would come before holidays, work would come before family functions, work would come before like anything.
Yeah.
So it's still such a high priority. And maybe it's hard to shake the never enough kind of attitude.
Yeah.
But I do think stereotypically Asians are just workaholics,
Yeah.
right? And obviously there's some in the white culture, but I think it's very depending on the person.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we all work, not just the summers. When I was in school, I had a paper route at 10,
mm.
and I had that till high school.
So you were always finding
I was always
jobs.
finding jobs. Yeah. So I had a paper route.
Hmm.
I had the penny saver, which I got paid $5 a month. And then my friend was delivering the Windsor Star, and that got you about $4 a week.
Even just the fact that you remember the amount of money
Yeah.
you made
I
off of the Windsor Star proves that it's a priority.
I know. I was 10 and I wrote in a letter to the Windsor Star, like hand wrote a letter and said, "Hi, my name is Sopan. I'm 10 years old. I currently deliver the penny saver, but I'd like to work for the Windsor Star delivering newspapers. May I have a
Okay.
job?"
Wow.
And they came to my house and gave me a paper route
Nice.
because I was walking home from school and I saw the Windsor Star van, and in my gut said, "They're coming here. They're gonna give you a job."
It's like the Ed
Sopan."
McMahon truck
I
with the
know.
big
And
check.
I was running home and they were at my door and I was
Whoa.
like, "Are you
With
here for me?" Like I
oh
was
my
so
God.
excited that my letter was received and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna give this kid a job."
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
I got a paper route
Okay.
and I made $4 a week, man.
Paper routes were big back in the day.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, but I remember,
Yeah.
I think my brother had a paper route at some point, but he kind of fluffed that away, I think. I think my mom canceled it because he never delivered his papers and she used to have to do it for him. But
Nope, my parents never did it for me. I used to carry it in a sack. It was very heavy. But then I made enough money. I bought a little red wagon and I would pull it in my wagon.
all right. So, what do you think about your kids and work? Are you going to force them to get jobs?
Yes.
At what age?
Now, no. Richard has a job. He does his garbage can business.
Yeah, he always does little side hustles.
Yeah. So he'll water people's plants. He does that kind of stuff. He's been talking about doing his lawn business, but then we had a conversation about Okay, if you decide to do a lawn business, that's dedication. There's no, I'm going to hang out with my buddies on Saturday. If you have a business, you have to do that. So, unless you're prepared to do that, don't take that on yet.
Hmm.
Because he wanted to buy a lawnmower, an
Yeah.
electric, his own mower, so that he can take it out and do people's lawns because he
Yeah.
wanted more money.
Hmm.
I'm like, which is good. But
Sure.
think about the commitment. If you're ready to make the commitment, do it.
Yeah.
So he put that on pause.
Okay. The girls want to go work at the deli. I
Yeah.
mean, we have that,
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunity. So you can go now and sweep the floor. You want to make some
Yeah.
cash, but
Take out garbages and stuff
yeah, we implemented chores and stuff to try to get that going, and it's hit or miss. I feel like the onus still falls on us
to
to
remind them.
remind them and do all the things, and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah. I think the drive is different though for them because never went hungry. I always had clothes. Like
Right.
we weren't, I don't want to say desperate per se,
Hmm.
but it was always built into us that you work. Couldn't even imagine like what would you do otherwise if you didn't work?
Well, we were going to also talk about hobbies. We'll
Right.
get to that, like, have a hobby.
No,
Not a priority.
not a priority.
Yeah. Well, so what kind of hobbies do Cambodians have? Any?
Playing cards.
Okay. That's
I
it?
think the newer generation travel has become
Okay.
a little bit more
Gambling is a pretty
like gambling.
across the board. I think
Yeah.
lots of
I think that might
Asians
be the only
gamble.
hobby that my
Okay.
parents had. They would just play cards with their friends
Yeah.
or go to the casino with their friends.
Okay.
But
I don't think so. Part of the problem with King's parents is they never had hobbies because they only worked.
right.
And now that they're semi-retired, they don't run their own restaurant anymore. They are really in that bad place. Like I think some retirees get into where they don't have any purpose. King's dad is kind of depressed, and we're trying to give him stuff to do. We always have a garden to tend to,
Yeah.
but in the winter, you don't do anything with that. And he's got like his fish.
Can you
I
get
guess
them an indoor garden?
he has one. He has like they built a greenhouse on the side of their garage.
Oh,
But I mean, like, it's still not enough to keep him busy
right.
enough.
Because you're so
Like
used to working all the
90-hour
time.
weeks, right?
Yeah.
So, and he still goes into the other family restaurant and helps out because he has nothing else to do. We try to like, hey, pick up the girls from school. There's something for you to do. And he gets excited about it. He's like, I'll take them to dance today. It's like, cool. But there's
Yeah.
no hobby, like zero
Yeah.
hobbies. And even when I see them together, they just watch YouTube, like
Right.
Asian
Yes.
YouTube. Like that's their hobby. And that's not really a hobby. Watching
Yeah.
TV, I don't think is considered a hobby. Where I do think for most white people, they do have hobbies is a priority. Like how do you find that fulfillment? I went through that whole point of life where you're married, you have babies, and you don't have time for hobbies. And now that's part of the reason we're doing the podcast. We're like, we don't have anything to do.
It's our hobby.
We need a
We
hobby.
have a hobby.
We have a hobby. Podcasting. Yeah,
Exciting.
it is. I love it. And I like get excited about editing the videos and stuff. I was talking to a friend and I was like, I get so excited when we record because that means I have something to do after, like editing. And I'm finding fulfillment in it because it's a new skill.
Yeah.
But that is, I think, something for me and probably a lot of white people. Like the reason we have hobbies is because we want that extra, right? Outside of work,
Right.
outside of family. Like I
And
think it's
Asians don't want
important.
that. Well, not that they
Or
don't want it.
know it.
That's not a in their head. There's no room, there's no space for it.
Mm, yeah.
It's just work.
Work and like family,
Work
like
and
we
family.
talked about before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Which I think we have the privilege of knowing that doesn't fulfill you.
Right.
As much as I enjoy my job, as much as I love my family, it's not fulfilling enough for me to be like content and happy. Like I need my own thing, a hobby.
Right.
And so I do carve out time. I mean, we carve out time to do this every week, right? Because
Yeah.
it's important to us individually.
Yeah.
But that is not a priority, I think, with King's parents or your family. Do any of your siblings have hobbies, or are they very Asian in the sense they just work a whole lot?
No, they have hobbies.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a brother that golfs a lot.
Okay.
And then my sister is a runner.
Hmm.
She likes to pick locations and do a half marathon. Hey, Sophia, let's go do a half marathon. I'm like,
Right. In
have you
Portugal.
fucking met me before? I don't want to be outside. And I
Right.
definitely do not want to run.
Yeah.
Wrong person to
Right.
ask. Like,
The two things I hate most.
hate exactly. No,
Right.
I'll go to Portugal and watch you, but I will not participate. And she asks me like at least 3 times a year for 3 different, like, she wants to go to BC next.
Okay.
No.
Right.
Yeah. So she has hobbies. My sister does not have hobbies. She likes to cook. She likes to watch YouTube videos and try different things, but I don't know if that's considered a hobby.
I think it is because it's King's hobby. Like that's all he does
Yeah.
is cook.
Well, that feeds into the priority of food.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Because
we
he
want good,
was
we have to eat good food
right. Yeah.
and do it right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being raised in a restaurant, I mean, for not being a trained chef, King is an amazing cook. Like he
I
could
know.
open up a restaurant tomorrow, and he always talks about it, but one day it probably will happen.
Yeah, he is a
But
good
like,
cook.
yep. So that's his hobby. I mean, he kind of falls in that workaholic. He was, I think, expected, like the priority was work and the priority was family. So he not only had to get a college degree and job, but he
Hmm.
also had to help out in the restaurant. So when we first started dating, I kind of loved it because you know me, I'm like, I want to be with you, but I also want my own space. So he used to have to work Friday and Saturday nights at the restaurant and sometimes Thursdays. So we would hang out on Sunday and talk all week. So I could still go out with my girlfriends and live the single life because he was always working.
Right.
It was the best. It
Yeah.
was like I was with him, but not with him. So I was living, I think that's probably why I ended up with him because I'm like, this is the best relationship I ever had. It's like no responsibility, but all the perks.
Right.
But yeah, so he's like work, 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 work. And then once we had kids, he stopped at the restaurant because he made his priority the family, which is good.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a shift for him. I remember this so vividly because I'm like, just sit the fuck down. He used to walk around and like tinker with shit, or that's when he started woodworking. He's just like, I'm going to start woodworking. So he bought a saw and he literally just started building cabinets for our house. Never did it before in his life. So like, he has that workaholic mentality. He's definitely like very Asian in that way,
Yeah.
but also personality. He's always doing something. He just can't stop.
Yeah. If you're stopping, you're sleeping.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and starts working again. He works all the time.
Yeah.
So,
So work definitely a priority.
yeah. And hobbies, not so much.
Not none, zero.
Yeah. What about friends? So we kind of touched on the friend aspect.
In my family, friends, I wouldn't say they were a priority, but they were there
You mean like growing up, or you mean for your
for
parents?
for my parents.
Okay, so they had friends.
They had friends that they played cards with.
Yeah. Well, how did they come to find their friends? Was it like work people? Were they other
No
Cambodians?
other Cambodians.
Okay, so there was a
There's a community.
community
Yeah.
in the air.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a pretty big community in Windsor of Cambodians and Leamington, and we used to go to like community center
Mm,
and have Cambodian parties,
yeah, okay.
things like that.
So there was none of that for King's parents. They were just family.
Yeah,
And there was the church that sponsored them, but it was like white people. So they would be friendly
but not
and have
not
relationship, but they
friends.
wouldn't hang out on Friday nights and play cards with them. And I think growing up for King, friends was his family as well because they all lived next door to each other or with each other. So he grew up with
Yeah,
his cousins being basically like siblings.
right,
And he did end up making friends, obviously going to school and stuff.
right.
But even his friends, and I don't know if this is just like a him thing, became almost family,
He had a smaller circle.
smaller circle. And then he became friends with other people who then became his family. Like his friend that he met in college actually married his cousin. So it's so Asian. Like,
Hmm.
and then that cousin and his cousin married each other. So there's two sets of cousins, and this is the American Asian cousins.
Asian.
So it's not even like the Asian Asians. They just always hung out together, so they ended up falling in love, which is great,
Yeah,
but it's still so Asian, right?
very.
Yeah. So friends became family.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I tried that once. I dated my brother's best friend.
How'd that go? I think I know
Well,
this story.
well, I
Not
mean,
so
it
well.
was fine. It was a long time ago. And it was great in the moment because my brother and his girlfriend at the time, and then my boyfriend and me, like we all hung out. And so it was really fun. But then eventually we broke up. And so then it was weird for a while because obviously my brother and his best friend are still best friends.
Right.
So I see him at holidays and stuff still to this day. I mean, he's married with three kids. I love his wife. We get along really well. And we were
Right.
like kids, kind of adults, but like kids when we dated. But yeah, it's like this kind of like, oh, what's up, dude? Well, it's funny because this guy is blonde haired, blue eyed.
Yeah.
And I was a blonde back in the day, blue eyed. And so, like, I think about if I would have ended up with him, his kids are like towhead blondes. They're super cute. But then I look at my kids who are dark
Yeah.
because of the Asian side, and my kids don't look anything like me at all.
I disagree.
Okay, they don't. I think they look very Asian, not like me at all. But maybe
They
you see
they
traits.
look Asian, but they look like you.
Okay, I don't look anything like an Asian person though,
It's
which
just the
is weird.
eyes that are different.
Anyways, I look at his kids and I think like I could have had kids that look like me. I could have had those little blue-eyed babies. Didn't happen. Wasn't in the cards.
Wasn't in the cards. You weren't meant to have blue-eyed babies.
No, I guess not.
You were meant to have
Brown eyes.
squishy-eyed, brown-eyed babies.
Brown-eyed babies, yep.
Yeah.
I always thought it would be so cool though if one of the girls came out with like blue eyes and dark hair. That look on people is like so beautiful to me. Isn't that funny? But I, as a white person, always wanted the tan skin, and I get so jealous at my kids because it's end of January and they still have a tan line from their bathing suit. And they don't even need sunscreen. They just get nice and tan.
Hmm.
King gets like super dark.
Hmm.
And it's just, you do too when you're in the sun enough.
Oh, if I brown enough, I can suntan for 1 week during the summer, and that's my color for the rest of the year.
Right. And I just go straight to burn.
Well, because it's a social class thing. That's why Asians want the white skin.
Okay.
Because when you have light skin, it means you're not working in the fields.
Oh, got it. Okay.
You're working in an office, so you probably have a higher paying position.
Okay.
Anybody who has a tan is more lower class because they're working in the fields.
But there's certain nationalities that are darker, Cambodian, Vietnamese, right? Like
Yes.
you're naturally darker.
Naturally darker. In the summer, my mom is always long sleeve, big hat, like
It's not for sun protection because of cancer or UV
no,
rays. It's to stay as light
as
as
light as
possible.
possible.
Okay.
Yeah, she'd get so angry when we would sunbathe. So angry. Like I what I work so hard for, and you guys just sit in the sun and get dark. She was get so angry. I remember in high school. I'm like, it's fine, Mom. It's what we're supposed to
So
do.
relaxing and sunbathing not a priority.
Oh, anger.
Well,
That initiated anger. She was not
and is
happy.
it because you were getting your skin darker or because you
Yes,
were just laying around?
both.
Oh, so
Doing
double
two bad
doozy.
things.
Double doozy. You're going to hell.
Yeah. You're telling everybody you're poor,
Mm.
and you are doing shit to make money, so you are poor.
I could totally see
Yeah.
her saying stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what she would say. What was the other priority?
Personal development.
Oh, zero. I didn't have to think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about other Asian cultures, but I can say in the Cambodian culture, growing up, personal development was not a thing.
So we're talking about personal development though, outside of like career development. So
Correct.
personal development is going to therapy to become more emotionally mature, maybe growing like as a person.
Talking to your children if they have a problem, like, no, that never happened. And even now as an adult, when I try to talk to my mom about certain things, because I find my sisters and I are better at personal development now as we're older.
Mhm.
But when I try to talk to my mom about certain things or give her a perspective of one of the children, she'll say things like, and I'll say it in English without the accent, but like, why even talk about it?
Uh,
That happened in the past. What's it going to change now?
right.
And it's
So she
like,
doesn't understand like the
I'm like,
reflection
yeah,
of
just
things.
it's not about changing now, it's about changing the future and how we
Mhm.
go about with my own children.
Yeah,
I don't want to make the same mistakes. Zero. Like it's like,
that's a waste of time.
don't talk about this.
You may as well be sunbathing.
Yeah. Go sunbathe.
Go
Get
sunbathe.
darker. Look
Right.
poor.
That's better than actually reflecting on your past behaviors.
Right.
So I think Western culture definitely focuses more on personal development, but I think it's a generational thing too. Now we are much more focused on personal development, like
Yeah.
even parenting. There's this huge wave of trying to not parent like our parents did in Western culture. So, because we see the consequences
Right. But
of
do you
certain
think
things.
we take it too far now though, where we're over?
Well, so this is me, with my career hat on. I think people do take it overboard because they're so afraid. So it's their anxiety drives them to overcompensate because they can't find that healthy balance.
Right.
Right. So I think part of what our kids are going to have to deal with is the parenting style being overboard. So I spent some time overseas this summer, and I told you, like, the reason I loved it was because as a mom, I could relax. Western culture is so fucking anxious about parenting. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stand next to me. Don't make any noise. Don't do that. It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And when I was overseas, it was so relaxed, and I noticed it. Like I felt so good, and I felt like such a good mom just being able to let my kids be without any societal pressure.
Right.
And when I came home, literally I was in the security check line because over there they have a separate line for like families for security. So it was all families in this line. And it was probably all the people that were on my plane, right? Because they were all speaking English. They're going back to the States or Canada. And I felt it. And it was like a wave, like a rush from my toes all the way to my head of anxiety when I was in the line. And I am like, fuck, here it goes. It's starting again. And it was such a noted difference because I think in our effort to, I don't know, look like good parents,
Mm-hmm.
we are all over. We turn into the Asian tiger moms.
Right.
Dad, don't act like a kid. And it's like, act like a kid because you're a fucking kid.
Yeah.
So I do think parents definitely take it overboard. Some,
Mm-hmm.
that's a generalization, but there's still parents that I deal with that like are back in authoritarian.
Yes.
I'm gonna kick the shit out of you if you talk like that. Like you can't talk to me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ugh,
See,
that's not
that's
good.
where I find challenging when it comes to parenting. I
Well,
think
guess
I'm
what?
more
You're used,
authoritarian.
but you're used to that,
I know.
right? That's the house I was raised in as well,
Yeah.
right? I think a lot of people are. So King's parents will comment all the time about how, I think they view me as a really good mom, which is great and a
Mm-hmm.
compliment. But my mother-in-law always says how impressed she is at how I will talk to the girls rather than just bah. She's like,
Right.
I never would have thought to do it like that. And she's like, but I see how good it is. So it's,
Oh, there's some
oh,
reflection.
yeah, she has a little
She's
self-development.
yeah.
But it's like in her face too.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think personal development is a big thing. I think it's also culturally in the States at least, it's cool to personally develop. Let's get a coach. Let's get a life coach. Let's
Right.
get a therapist, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is great. TikTok therapy, it is almost, I won't say overkill because I don't believe like you can overkill it, but it's like in your face,
Right.
right?
Well, it's more accepted.
More
It's
accepted.
not accepted in Asian cultures.
Yeah. But not only accepted, I think it's like a fad. Like let's go on a
Right.
retreat for a week for personal development and do like yoga and meditation and personal journaling. And there's money to be made in it now.
Right.
So I think now it's a business like where they lure you in. I've gotten lured in like, yeah, let's go on a ayahuasca retreat in Costa Rica. Like I really do want to do that, right? Where you basically take shrooms and throw up and shit yourself and purge your trauma. Like,
And you want to do that?
yeah. Dude.
I can just come as your bodyguard
Yeah,
or
cool.
like your
Support
safe,
coach.
your safe person.
Okay. I mean, it's all done with a shaman, but
I don't know.
have you ever looked into it?
I've heard of it, yes.
Okay.
And I think I watched a Law and Order episode about somebody who got raped during her experience.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that
I need a safety
but the
person.
rest of the week is just like swimming in waterfalls. So let's do that. Personal development can be a tax
It's
write-off.
like doing stuff but calling it a personal development.
Basically. It's good for my mental health. I just need to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll support you.
But yeah, Asians would never do that.
No,
No. Okay.
not even a consideration. I think maybe the newer Asians now would, but I mean,
Yeah.
back then, hell no. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as personal development. Is that a job?
Right.
Do you make money? If not, don't do it.
No work, no money.
No
No
money,
money,
no
no work.
work.
No money, no work. Yeah. So work, high priority. Hobbies, not so much.
Yeah.
Friends, not so much. Personal
Personal
development,
development.
no. Got it.
That would have to be admitting to our faults,
Mm,
like self-reflection,
yeah.
and for my parents to admit their faults. My dad could do it. My dad did it somewhat before he passed away. He talked about, I wasn't always a good husband.
Mm,
I'm like, I know, Dad. That's okay.
yeah.
Part of life.
Maybe that's an end of life thing for anybody.
Yeah.
Just like looking back, as you're getting older. But I think it's not just an Asian thing that people can't accept responsibility. That's just a
Okay.
thing. Yeah. Because,
It's white people too.
oh, yeah. I asked my dad to apologize to me a couple months ago. He's like, You're get the fuck out of here. It's like, okay, bye. So yeah.
Okay, so
And that would involve some reflection and some like
right.
onus.
Humility and
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So that's an everybody thing. I
okay.
think it's person by person. But maybe the personal development, just like it's a waste of time. Like you could be spending that energy working
Yeah,
or
that's what it is.
doing anything else.
Yeah.
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 So maybe the priority is time management, how Asians spend their time versus how white people spend their time.
Right.
We do prioritize more leisure,
Over, yeah.
other things. Like I think trying to find a balance, maybe, but
Yeah. I want to hear about what other people's priorities are in their family.
yeah, and how it shows up. Because like priorities are obviously important, but how it plays out every day, like King cooking all the time, or when he stopped working at the restaurant and I was inside, taking care of our newborn and he was out in the garage woodworking because he couldn't sit down.
Yeah.
That's where priorities
Where
clash.
you're like,
Right,
come take
dude.
the baby.
Right. What the
Let
are
me
you
go have
doing?
a bath.
Right. Yes. So that was like where some of the priorities kind of created some conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's culturally different, that's where
It
it could
is.
have some cultural clashes.
Yeah. Hobbies was big for Rich. His golf
Golf.
hobby.
Yeah. So how he prioritizes golf over
Yeah.
family.
He used
even.
to. He doesn't anymore.
Because you've had to
We've
clash it out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his hobby priority was higher than maybe other priorities.
Yeah. I feel like his family prioritizes family traditions, his parents' family traditions over the traditions of the kids and their families. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So you
So
got to do what grandma says
you gotta
rather
do it.
than what
Yeah,
your family wants to do.
correct.
Yeah.
And what traditions for them are, we follow.
Hmm.
And ours comes secondary,
Got it.
which I'm fine with.
Are you?
98% of the time, I'm
Okay.
like, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm flexible that way.
Very not Asian of you.
Well, they're old.
The Caucasians rubbing off.
No, I was gonna say that's more Asian.
To be flexible with tradition?
Yeah, like for Christmas time, they celebrate Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. My family.
Well, because you didn't prioritize holidays. That's
Right.
not being
Oh,
flexible.
okay. I was like, we're flexible. We tell me, I'll come whenever.
Yeah.
And then my family would be like, well, maybe we'll do it the 26th. We could do it the 30th. Is it a better
Oh, I
day?
think, okay. But it's because it's not a priority. If it was a
Correct.
priority, work, you're going to be able to like flex your hours.
No, I've
No.
got to work over
Yeah. See?
Christmas.
Yeah. See? That's not flexible.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
So I think, yeah, priorities, how they're showing up. Yeah, I would love to hear more because I think we could talk about this forever.
Mm-hmm.
So send us your priorities,
And how it shows up in your family.
especially if there's conflict.
There's always conflict
Yeah, I
with
want to hear the
priorities.
juicy details. Right.
Always conflict.
Always.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for mixing it up.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Hey, Inner Rice Pod, we had a blast mixing it up with you today. So use your chopstick or your fork and go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Also follow us on social media to stay up to date. We would love to hear from you, so send us an email sharing your interracial stories. See you next time.